Good evening. Today's video is about equity and having an equitable city for everybody. Here we are outside of this bus stop that the city has kindly told me does not exist. Bus stop 2683. I called in because a bus never showed up. And a kind person answered the phone, and she was very helpful, and as so much as she could be, as this is not her fault. And she told me there's no such bus stop. Can you check again? I checked again. And clearly this is a bus stop. She checked. She checked again. I told her there's also a bus stop across the road. She says, well, the computer says there's no bus stop there either. And then you look it up on this, you tell her there's a bus shelter there, so obviously there's also a bus stop there. She says, wait, I have a separate list of bus shelters. Oh, you're correct, there is a bus stop there, but there is no bus stop where you are. As you saw already in the video, there is a bus stop here, and a bus did stop there earlier, although it wasn't the bus I was waiting for. So there is a bus stop there. So that's the first issue, is that the city doesn't know where the bus stops are. So this is about equity, though, not about me. It's about people having an equal opportunity in society. So let's say I'm at this bus stop to get to work, and I'm waiting for a bus that doesn't come. Or I call the city to say, when does the bus come? And they say, well, that's not a bus stop. What are you supposed to do? So eventually, while I'm talking to the young lady at dispatch about whether or not this is a bus stop, 2 copies of the bus go by that I'm waiting for, which in this case is the number 5. Not 1, but 2. And just to give you background information, they run half an hour apart. So I says to her, 2 of the buses just went by on the other side of the road that I'm waiting for on this side of the road, the number 5. Springbank. And so she checks on her computer, which is very accurate, live time kind of programmed thing. She says, you're correct. I know this because I just saw them, but it's good to have her reassurance of what I just saw. One of those is 7 minutes behind schedule, and one of those is 34 minutes behind schedule. 34 minutes. Which means that this bus stop that I'm at has missed a whole half-hour service. So it's an hour behind in its connections. An hour behind in its connections. In case that wasn't obvious for you. So, 34 minutes behind on a bus that runs every half hour. That's craziness. So, what I'm trying to say here is that, any country, any city where I am isn't that relevant to this discussion. But it's about equality. So people depend on public services. We'd like people to drive less. It's hard to do that if the transportation doesn't show up and isn't reliable, and nobody seems to know, unless somebody calls in to complain that it's not working. It's hard for people to get to medical appointments, jobs, school, whatever the case may be. Obviously, it's important that these things run on time. It's important people know in the city where the bus stops are, to find them. And if the computer doesn't know where they are, then obviously you can't tell people where they are to get there, or give them helpful advice when they're looking for the bus itself. I'm in favor of public transit, don't get me wrong. We need more buses. We need more ways for people to get around. We need more ways to separate a divide that's created by whether or not someone can afford a car to drive. We actually need expanded bus service to farther locations on a more regular basis and in more rural or industrial parts of the city as well. So I hope we get more buses, not less. But I also hope that every city that in the world is out there has a system that works. Because our most vulnerable citizens are the ones that are most likely to rely on the buses. Children, elderly, unemployed, ill, they all rely on a bus service that runs on a daily basis at the time it's supposed to be. It's not much use to us, a bus that doesn't show up.